Welcome to Lesson 24. In Lesson 24, we stop using the notation for star. We stop using the star notation, and we go back to using the opposite of x notation right here instead. So we're back to using that notation, but it is the star, it is the pawn, but I'm going to start saying it's the opposite of x again. So like I did way back when we first started with the star, and then we went to that notation, I said it's the opposite of x. So I'm going to do that same thing here. So I got to set this problem up. I have an x, and I'm supposed to take away two of the opposites of x. I can only do that as if I bring in pairs of zeros, remember. Oops, I didn't get that one grabbed. There we go. So I had to bring in these pairs so that I can actually take away the two opposites of x. So now I can get rid of those, cut them off my screen, and now I have a -3 or a -3, call it a green 3. And then on the other side I've got the 5, and I've got the opposite of x. So here's my problem all set up now. I've got 3 x's and the green on the one side, and I got a red and a star on the other side. Now the 5 is the bigger number, so I would want to keep the 5. So that means I want to get rid of that red 3 or that green 3 first, and the only way to get rid of that green 3 is to have a red 3, and I've got to put that on both sides of the brackets. Now that I have it, I can let the red and the green 3 get taken off, slide them off my balance. On the problem, I now have the 5 and the 3 boxes, and I have the star. I want to get rid of the star. Well, there's two ways to get rid of the star. I can add the 0 on the right-hand side, so I can get rid of that. Or I can add add a 0 to the left-hand side, bring in a star and an x. I can put both of those over here, and then I have a star that I can cancel both off. Or the other option is get a star and put it on both, or an x and put it on both sides. I think that's going to be my preference, because now I say I have a star and an x or an opposite of x on this side. I'm going to take those off. So these are all gone. So now I have that problem. I got 4 x's having to be 8. Well, I know 8 divided by 4 is 2, so that would tell me that x equals 2. Well, now that x equals 2, that means that the opposite of x has to equal -2. So just to keep that in our mind. Now, what I'm noticing on your assignments is people are not checking. They're just getting an answer, calling it good, and letting it fly. Let's check it. I have, right up here, I got to check. I've got a 2 here, and I've got a -2 inside there, which means I actually have 2 of those, and I'm adding. No, I'm not. I'm subtracting. Got to read that sign right. Subtracting those. And then I got a -3, and then over here I got a 5, and I got a -x, that's a -2. So now let's check that if that all works out. 2 minus a -2, well, that's add a line, change of sign, so that's a 4. 4 minus -2, that's an add a line, change of sign, that's a 6. So now I'm up to a 6. 6 minus 3 is 3, so I have a 3 on the left-hand side. On the other side, I got 5 plus a -2, opposite sign, so I'm going to subtract, and that would give me a 3. 3 does equal 3. That's what I would have. So on my sheet of paper, if I'm doing it like you guys are, and you really should be doing it this way too, over on the side, it has the old word check with a box or a line underneath of it. Well, that line should be where you put down that you've checked it. You plug the number in, then you got it. And then over on the left, it says x equals 2, and -x, our opposite of x, equals -2. Okay, you should be doing that every time, checking your answers. Let's try a new problem. This time I have 2 times the opposite of x minus a -3 plus x equaling 2x plus 8. So I can take care of that first part. I've got 2 -x's. Why did I grab a 1? I don't know why that is. 2 -x's. Now I have to take away this. Well, that is this. The only way I can take that away is if I have a 0. So I have to have this to go with this. So all of these come down here onto the line. Now I can take away these, and I'm left with this as my side. And then I have 2 x's and the red 8 and the positive 8. So those are my problems. So now I can rearrange things as I need to, maybe make it easier. I've seen some problems here lately where people want to cross off an opposite of x and an x from opposite sides of the equation. Can't do that. They have to be side by side to eliminate them. So what I need to do is I've got the 8 and I've got the 3. I want to get those on the same side. I want to get rid of the smaller one. So I mean a green 3 to both sides would have to go in. Well, the green 3 and the red 3 cancel each other off. A negative 3 and a positive 3 cancel each other off. Well, a negative 3 and an 8 leaves us with a 5. So these two drop down to be a 5. Now I have 3 of the opposite of x's and 2 of the x's plus 5 having to be equal to each other. I'm thinking we need to get rid of the 2 x's. Well, the only way to get rid of those 2 x's is, what if I put in 2 stars, 2 opposite of x's on this side, so 2 stars. I want to clone those because I got to put them on this side too. If I do it to one side, I do have to do it to the other side. So I'm adding 2 of the negative x's to both sides. And when I do that, these 4 things right here get to all cancel off. So now I have 5 stars equaling an x, or 5 negative x's all equaling an x. So that tells me that negative x has to be a positive 1. So that would mean x has to be a negative 1. Well, let's check that. Okay. 2 times a 1 would mean I have a 1 plus a 1 here. There we go. So I have a 1 plus a 1. That's this first part. And then I got a negative 3 plus a negative 1. And I'm supposed to subtract there. So this gets me 2 minus negative 3 plus negative 1 is negative 4. Here we have the add a line, change of sign, so I get a positive 6 on that side. On the other side, I've got 2 x's. X's are negative 1, so that's negative 1 plus negative 1. Or you can think of it as 2 times negative 1, or negative 1 plus a negative 1, whichever way you want to think about it, plus the 8. Either way, you get negative 2 plus 8, you get 6. Both sides have 6 and 6. That works out. So it is definitely true that the opposite of x is 1 and x is negative 1. So the big thing here is we're going back to the notation. Instead of star star, we're now looking at the opposite of x. Either way we do it, we're still representing that with that white triangle, that white peg. Okay, you can do it.